Bang! Neevesknives. I'm Jared. My lovely wife Kara's not joining us tonight, but that's okay. We will still have a fun one. Hope all is well for everybody. We hit 7K last night. Woo! Which is amazing. Absolutely amazing. I'm very, very happy to see that because we were teetering close to 7K for a few days. I think we even were really close and then drop back down for a second because that happens, you know. That's why I usually don't even say nothing. Sometimes I don't say nothing until after like 50 or 100 over the mark because a while back we actually hit I don't know, I think it was 1,000 or something, or maybe it was even earlier than that, three or 500, and we were so excited, and then overnight we lost like 10 or 15 subs. So then we were like way under, or not way under, but under. So but we are at 7K, and even if we lose, I think we're like 7,015 or something. Even if we lose a few, we'll just jump right back up. So very awesome. 7K, man. That's 6,000 subs this year, because last year, right around this time, we were doing the 1,000K giveaway. So 6,000 subs in a year. I'm hoping for next year around this time to be at 15. I think we could do it, because after the 1,000 sub giveaway, I wasn't pushing content like I was now, but as soon as I started pushing content the way I do now, everything changed. Like the subs started coming in like crazy. Our videos started getting a lot more views. Hey Amy, hey sweetheart. Um, so I'm very, very happy to see that, and I really think we could hit 15 next year, or hopefully. We'll see how it goes. I honestly, you know what? I was wanting 5K at the end of when I started doing double videos or multiple videos a day and blah blah blah. I was pushing for 5K by this time. So to hit 7 is just absolutely amazing. So we have a bunch of stuff we're going to talk about. I'm actually going to go through some comments here in a minute, just randomly, and then we're going to talk about them on air because a lot of people ask really, really good questions that I'd like to talk about on here. So one of them, I actually just read it. I'm not going to say anybody's name or anything like that, but somebody asked about washers and bearings. He works on a farm, and he was asking what would be better for working on a farm, washers or bearings. A lot of people know, I guess, you know, to an extent, that washers are more for hard use and bearings are not, you know, they're not supposed to be for hard use. Now, to an extent, I think bearings are really good, especially ceramic bearings, because unlike washers, where if it does get gritty, you do have to take them apart. Wash or bearings, you can just rinse, especially if you have some alcohol, or if you just rinse it under some hot water, you can rinse them off. It's pretty easy, actually. But if it does fall in the dirt and it's really bad, you might have to take it apart. But washers definitely is better for dirtier environments. The best, though, for dirty environments is actually Teflon. Teflon washers is self lubricating, and it's harder for the dirt and grime to get in there, and it keeps on going. Like, you can get it grimy and dirty. It's a reason why hinders and all them originally were like on Teflon. Then they switched to phosphor bronze and eventually bearings, or actually the Triway. But if you're going to be in grimy, dirty areas, Teflon's the best, phosphor bronze second, and then ceramic bearings very close third, because through some testing, ceramic bearings actually did very, very good when tossed in muddy, dirty buckets, you know, and tested. And then steel bearings doesn't do good at all with dirt. It just doesn't. Um, and there's also certain kinds of bearings. So if you have the caged bearings that have an open face, those are going to do the worst because dirt and grime gets inside that cage. And if you guys know what I'm talking about, where you can see the balls on one side and then you flip it over and it's open and you can actually see the entire ball. of the bearings, but when you flip it back over, you just see like the heads of them. Those ones, if stuff gets in there, it's very hard. You do have to take them apart, and then they're even hard to clean. Now, bearings like Gillian's bearings, those are amazing for dirt and grime. It's very easy to clean off. You can literally take, if you did take it apart, you just take it apart, just wipe them on a rag, done. But you could also just rinse them out under a sink. It's super, super easy. Or any other bearing like that. Even Two Sons bearings. Two Sons bearings are really good for that because they're caged ceramic bearings in a plastic, or I think it's a plastic, maybe Teflon, but it's like a plastic washer with bearings. But there's nowhere for the dirt and grime to like get caught in. But phosphor bronze is still going to do better because they're sandwiched so tight in there that nothing can get in there. Did you see Medford's rant on the guy calling him racist because he wouldn't do a mirror polish for him? Yes, I did. I did. I think the guy said something about that if he wasn't um a different color or whatever, he'd probably do it for him or something like that, which is just absolutely absurd. Medford never does mirror polish on his knives, and he doesn't do it because he makes working knives, and he just doesn't have the setup like for doing that. That's just not what he does. So he never offers it. He's never offered it to anybody. And a guy, you know, I well, when Medford read the original, like every like message, it seemed like everything was going really good. And then just all of a sudden, the guy basically was mad because he wouldn't do, because they said they wouldn't offer it. And then basically, yeah, basically called him a racist and said that if he wasn't, and he was a Japanese fella too, which if you know anything about Greg has done a lot of Japanese things, like he's been in Japanese martial arts and so on and so forth. But yeah, it's just stupid. Like, come on, we got to be better than that. Like, we literally as humans are taking away what racist means. Like the real, and anybody who's actually dealt with anything actually racist, it's like you're taking that and making it something it's not, you know? It's getting pathetic, like very, very pathetic. And then for people that actually deal with racist situations now, people aren't even going to take it seriously anymore because it's been so played out. um, Spanky says it's like 2 videos back from Medford. Okay, so do you guys know Medford just came out with on Smoky Mountain Knives, the Swift, an S45 VN, but it's only at Smoky Mountain Knives. It's an exclusive for Smoky Mountain Knives, the S45 VN Swift. So the Swift comes in an automatic and a manual. Me personally, I like the manual. Autos are cool, so you can get it in an auto, but man, that the manual one looks sweet. It looks so badass. It's to me, I think it's a little bit similar to the Slim Midi. Not exactly or nothing like that, but they're both very slim. They're about the same length, I believe. Yeah. And it's basically the, what is it? The Praetorian Slim. Basically, the Swift is basically the Praetorian Slim, and then there's the Swift. The Praetorian Slim is the manual, then the Swift. It's gotten ridiculous. I hate all this. It meant to cause division between the people. Absolutely, that's all it's about. It's all it's about is dividing us and making us fight each other. It's actually written in handbooks. If you listen to people that like from communist countries or even just places where they teach how to turn countries into countries like that, and they basically are kind of like spies, where they go into different places and they influence other communities and places to do those things and act like that. That's like one of the things written in their book, is to do that, among lots of other things we are doing right now. Damn, what the hell's going on? There we go. So, but yeah, it's kind of crazy. Oh, I do want to shout out Chris Gonzalez. I don't know if you guys know who Chris Gonzalez is. He's been in the knife community for a long time. He's had cancer for a while. And he's got a GoFundMe going. He's trying to get up to 7,000. I know we donated some money. I'm gonna make a post probably tonight or tomorrow on Instagram. I'll make sure I say something else on YouTube. But if you guys can, Chris Gonzalez, a lot of people know him, man, because he has supported all of the knife channels that all you guys know for a long time. I know he's sent us knives to check out. He's sent knives to pretty much everybody. And yeah, amazing, amazing dude. He sent knives to Metal Complex, and yeah, he's been fighting cancer. We used to talk to him on the phone, and just a great dude. And yeah, Stasa, sorry I could. Thank you, bud. Sorry I couldn't go live because I had to watch my granddaughter, but hopefully this Saturday. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I hope so too, bud. No problem, no problem. Take care of your shit. Yeah, we're gonna get Stasa 23 on here soon. Hopefully Saturday. If not, then we'll do it next week. What's up, Richie B? Richie B. I just got that video done for that the Gemini. I'm gonna post it tomorrow. Somebody else said something. Yep, it's how Stalin. Oh yeah, Stalin took over. It's meant to cause division so that the people can be less united. This means that they don't have large enough of a group to fight the government from taking the rights. Yeah, absolutely. There's, I mean, like I said, if you, like you were talking about Stalin, if you look at the way they do it, they can't usually do it by themselves. So what they need is they need people fighting each other and battling each other, not agreeing, so that they can it's kind of like, what better way to get the people to do what you want, right? If you have half of them agreeing with you and not realizing, the end goal, then it works out for you. And then if they're fighting each other, like you said, they're not worried about you. And then smoke and mirrors, if they're too busy looking at each other for shit to fight about, then they're not looking at you close enough. I mean, there's a bunch of things I could talk about right now about that stuff, but we're gonna get into some knife stuff, some of that knife stuff. Um, Jared, have you handled the Tucson TS-136, the front flipper and M390 and shred carbon fiber? Thoughts? If so, been itching to pull the trigger on one. I haven't. I have not tried that one. Um, there's things that I look at when I buy a Tucson. There's just a few things because their pictures are decent, but they're not the best quality. One thing, and this, I'm just going to go over some of the things that I look at. What's up, Shane? Thank you, bud. Would love to see Nick on the split screen. Oh, we're going to get him on here for sure. Thank you, Shane. I appreciate that. I need to get back to you on Instagram. I seen your message. I'm just thinking. You know what I mean? So the things I go over when I pick out a Tucson is, one, I look at the choil. If I can. Sometimes you'll get a shot like this, and you can actually see if it's thin, which most of the Tucsons after like 100, their grinds did change. They started doing better geometry. Before that, they were pretty thick. They were kind of like 940s, Benchmade Griptilian kind of thickness, where they're like 20 thousandths behind the edge. And then they just got thicker, really thick spines, 3.8 millimeters. Then they started thinning them out. So I'm usually pretty confident that the Tucson's going to be, as long as it's a higher number, it's going to be pretty good with geometry. But I usually look at the choil. I like to make sure it's going to have a good sharpening choil. Next thing I look at is if I can get it, the clip. Now, there are certain clips I don't like, but I like the designer, so I wind up buying them either way, which is like Mazwan Mokhtars. I hate those clips. Those clips with the ceramic ball, they're shit. I don't like them. but I like his designs, and he has some of the best designs from Tucson, in my opinion. Some of the best. The Tepe clips are really good. There's some like the clips, if you see the ones like with this little dot right there, those ones are really good. What is it? What's the other one? Like I said, Tepe's, his clips are really good. There's a few of them that are really good, but you want to like kind of see the ramp and see where it lands. If I can do that, that's a good thing. Um, Another thing, I look at the size, because their size, one time I got tricked up. I bought one. I didn't realize it wound up being a tiny knife. Same thing with the big ones too, because you don't realize how big they are. Like I said, the pictures aren't the best. What's up, Shaker? Shaker MT's in the house. What's up, bud? All right. This is Chris's GoFund. Thank you, Wallaby. Thank you so much. This is Chris's GoFundMe. If you can donate, that would be amazing. Thank you so much. Yes, please. He's such a great dude in this community, and a lot of people know who he is. He's always on Instagram. Like I said, he's been supporting us since we started the channel, since probably our first couple hundred subs. He's been so awesome to us, and not even just us, a lot of channels. He's a great dude. And he's been going through hell with cancer. And yeah, so, and I'm sure you guys can imagine what it's like being, and I'm not just saying a man, but any type of human, and have to ask for help, you know. Shane Gable says the ceramic ball clip look awesome, but yeah, that's the problem. The problem is that if they're on like a spring clip, then they probably won't be so bad, but they're usually on a really strong clip, so they have no bend to them. And that ball is pushing down so hard that when you go to get it over anything, it's like, dink, So, but yeah, it looks cool. Um, but just, man, I don't really like them. I'm sure some of them are good. I've seen some decent ones. I felt some decent ones, but majority are bad. I just don't like it. I'm just gonna talk about this for 1 second. So the past few days I've been at night designing a lock mechanism, because I was trying to think like, man, it'd be cool, to design your own knife locking mechanism. Um, and so I started drawing some shit up. I got something pretty badass in mind. I know I probably won't be able to put it into work, but maybe we'll see. But yeah, it's pretty cool, pretty badass. I got the drawings all drew up, not to exact dimensions or anything, but that's just figuring that shit out. The most important part. Um, we're gonna go through some comments here in a second though, because man, we get some really cool comments, and it's just fun topics to talk about. Okay, so this is another thing. D2, I see this a lot. Okay. D2 having more or better edge retention than S30V and S35VN. Now, when you look at the chart for D2, yes, its edge retention is above S30V and S35VN. Supposed to be. But in actual testing, it normally never ever tests that good. And the reason why, and me and Steve talked about it too, is that they weren't made for production. The D2 steel wasn't supposed to be for production knives. It's made for small batches, which when they're doing production knives, they're never heat treating on a small batch level. They're always doing a massive amount, which it's not made for. The temperature that it has to be in has to be precise. It just everything about it, from like how it's taken out, its cooling process, everything has to be precise, like in a certain range. And if it gets out of that range, it's not going to be what it could be. Now, production D2, I'm not saying it's like some people would say it's horrible. I'm not saying it's horrible for a certain price, because if you're getting, say, I don't know, VG10 cutting performance or something like that, and you're only paying $40 for it, that's not bad, right? It's not rust proof. Like it's almost a stainless, but it's not quite a stainless. But there's so many steels nowadays, so many, that D2 is kind of yesterday's steel. When it first came out, everybody was so excited about it, including me, because I didn't realize, the whole heat treating thing on it. Now that we do, we've got to get companies away from D2. It's not a great steel. It is a great steel, like say if Medford's doing it, right? Like everybody gave Medford shit for using D2, but he used CPM D2, which is a powdered steel. And remember, he's doing it on a small batch level. So that's when you're going to get it at the performance levels of what it's supposed to be. When you're getting it from Tucson or Kubi or anything like that, you're not going to get that performance. You never will. Not like 14C28N, which was made for production knives. It was actually made for razor blades. I didn't know, but it was actually made to be heat treated on a conveyor. So it could be done very fast and with a massive amount. But that's why it's done so good. 14C28N is easy for companies to heat treat. That's why when you get companies that put a little bit of effort, like Civivi, into their 14C28N, you get amazing results. But that's kind of the beauty in it. And that's why I love it. Um, hey, Benjamin, thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks, bud. Also, if you live near the ocean, D2 can corrode on you. Not super bad, mind you, but still a thing. Absolutely. It's not it's not a stainless. It's just not. So you're going to get that. There's a lot of steels that will do that, but they also have usually better edge performance, like M4 and there's a ton of them. CTSXHP, Maximet, all those steels, you'll get a lot better performance out of them, but you do need to take care of them because they'll rust on you pretty quick. They'll patina on you really quick too. So but with certain steels that were made for those big batch type of K390. Yes, K390 is another one. Love it. But yes, it will patina on you. But I love K390. But yeah, with some steels, especially for like budget steels or production level knives, you want steel that if it's not going to be done right, like certain companies just do them right because they take the right protocols, blah, blah, blah. But with some of the budget steels or budget knives, I should say, there should be specific steels that we look for. That's it's going to give us better performance. It's going to give us good edge retention. It's going to be nice and tough, and they're going to be able to heat treat it right because it's easy to do. You don't have to worry about it like, oh man, is it a good heat treat or not? I don't want to worry about that when I buy a knife, even if I am paying 40, $50. I want to know. Jared, what do you think of ATS 34? So ATS 34, I like it. I think that one was also made for razor blades. I've only sharpened it a couple times. Um, I believe that one was made for razor blades. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, it's a decent steel. It's very similar to 14C28N, I believe. A lot of custom knife makers like to use it because it's another one. It's easy to heat treat. Now, I've used it and it's supposed to be really good for very thin grinds. So like like for like razor blades and stuff. So that's where you're gonna get its performance is when it's thinned out really good. It's not made for really thick, hard use stuff. It's made for nice, fine edges. Now, when I did polish one time, I didn't get the best results from it, I'll be honest. But that doesn't really mean too much. Maybe it wasn't heat treated to a high level, or maybe it just doesn't do good with the polish. A lot of steels don't. Um, I just seen Daily Carry Solutions says BDZ1 was also made for razor blades. And with steels like that, then they're most likely going to be easy to heat treat because, think about punching out a bunch of razor blades. You have to do a lot of them on a big scale. Now, just because it was made for that or was going to be made for that or was whatever, doesn't mean it's a bad steel. That possibly means it could be a really good steel. Obviously, it's not the same thing as your standard razor blade you know, that's just made out of stainless. There's some really good I mean, obviously it's usually more expensive, but you can get some expensive razor blades made in better steel. What are your thoughts on the 20 CV? I've heard that most companies aren't heat treating them high enough to be at the performance rating and is normally soft. Mike Emler was saying once. Yeah, that is one of the problems. They were really exposed last year by Steve and Outpost 76. A lot of people, Cedric Canada, really exposed M390 20CV and 204P because, like D2, it's kind of the same thing. I forget the temperature it has to be at, but it's the same thing. It has to be heat treated, at a certain temperature, and it doesn't have a lot of variations. Like you can mess it up pretty easily, I guess. Now, at first, when they first were testing them, you noticed they were not getting good results at all. Like we were seeing like S30V like performance levels. And I think that steels, I think basically like when you make another steel, like say if we said S30V, S35VN, S45, in order for it to like really make it where you can put a new name on it and say it's an improved steel, you want to see at least a 10%. I think it's 10%. It's either 10 or 14% increase. I think it's 10% increase in performance. If you're not going to get that, then what's the point, right? It's like, it's just same thing otherwise. So with M390, we should see a massive amount of edge retention compared to S30V or S35VN. But a lot of companies aren't doing it right now. I noticed after that, though, some of them started improving. Like, I think Spyderco started improving it a little bit. A lot of companies didn't. Now, the HRC number doesn't necessarily mean that it's good. It's also the quality in the heat treat. But yeah, I still like it. The way I look at it is it depends on the price I'm paying. So when I get it from Tucson, right? Tucson's everybody knows their M390 isn't doing that good. But I get it for such a good price. I'm getting it for a better price than I get S30V from other companies. So do I really care that it's getting S30V performance? No, not really. Because S30V is a damn good steel. So if I'm getting S30V performance, but I'm paying D2 prices or something, or whatever, 14C28M prices, I'm happy with it. Now I'm not gonna go and pay $200-300 for their M390. They have no problem paying $100, $120, $130 for it. I'm getting titanium, getting caged bearings on a track. I'm getting really good precision, well built knife. So, and the 14C28N is done really good, but it just depends on the company. Um, Yeah, I seen that. Seems logical. He sent some knives over there to Ray from Everyday City Carry. That's another one we need to get on the channel. Um, this is what irks me. Wait on new steel and get optimal performance out of existing lineup. Yeah, definitely. They should definitely get it right. There's some companies they get the steel and like kind of like M390, and I've said this a lot. When a lot of companies started using M390, none of them were doing it good. They just weren't good at doing it. They weren't good at heat treating it. After a while, like you can expect that from Tucson too. They recently started using it, and recently probably found out from the community that it wasn't doing that good. So now you can kind of expect them to catch up and start doing better, like other companies started doing when they first got it. They were doing it horrible, and then as time went on, they started improving it. None of them are doing it to the level of what it could be, but at least it's decent. Yep, there are sand. Daily Carry Solutions says there are Sandvik steel blades used in razors, but cost more. They also make carbon steel blades too. Yes, absolutely. But yeah, it's going to cost more. TRM makes great 20 CV. Yeah, I'm actually happy with their I got it right here. Bang. That's another thing we're going to talk about. So every time I post something about TRM, I get a lot of comments of people saying, yeah, but they're impossible to get, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so yes, I know they're hard to get. They are trying to expand their company. They are. Give them credit though, man. They're a USA company coming out swinging. The knives really aren't crazy expensive. I know this one's a little bit pricey. I do know that. But they're doing the best they can. They're trying to expand, and it's great to see a company in the US, coming out with some knives. We need that. We need more of that. So if it takes them some time, because remember, they haven't even been around for that long. So, you know, I wouldn't much rather a company totally optimize the performance on the steel rather than give us the latest and greatest and charge us an arm and a leg. Absolutely. Such a great point. Um, if instead of, because you guys know how it goes, it seems like every couple months here comes a new steel, instead of even fucking with that shit, just do the stuff you got already better. Now you already know the certain steels, D2, that just get it out of there. Like forget about that steel. And then take another great steel and make it very good. Do it better. Maybe you know, maybe they need steels that do good on production levels, like 14C28N. Because if you get a steel that's not good to be done, meaning like if it's not a good steel to be done on a big batch, level, don't do it. Just don't even mess with it. Stay away from it because you can't do it. But instead, they'll do it. Everybody will be all psyched and hyped up to get that steel, not realizing they're not even going to get what that steel's supposed to do. Because that's the thing. If it's not done right, you're not getting the steel quality you're supposed to out of it. And then what I really hate is when they take these super steels, right? We got these badass super steels and they give us a thick grind. What is the point to have this amazing steel if not to thin that grind out, make it ultra thin so that it cuts through materials and just blazes through materials very good, because it doesn't need to be really thick. That's the point why it's such. I'm not saying all steels, obviously, but a lot of the steels, the super steels we deal with, they're okay to thin out. They're kind of made for that. They're tougher, they're stronger, they're harder. Not all of them. Like you take S110V, it can chip pretty easily if it hits anything really hard, but it's going to get great edge retention otherwise. D2 used to be the dog's balls. Yeah, that's what I mean. I was psyched about it when they started using it. Man, I was so excited. Like the first time I got D2, I was pumped. I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna get me some D2." But yeah, didn't know what was about to happen. The discussion with Super Steel Steve and you on 14C really made me like the steel more. Absolutely. He taught me something, about the conveyor belts. I didn't know that. I knew everything else, but I did not know that they were actually, it was actually made to be on to be heat treated on a conveyor belt, which to me, that's a good thing because that tells me that when done, like not on a conveyor belt in like a proper way that you would do a pocket knife, it's probably going to do really good. What's up, Tariq? Um, oh, thank you, Monster. I appreciate that. We hit the 7K. Yeah, yeah. I'm loving it. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Um, you know what? I'm gonna go through this stuff here in a second. I got a couple things we're gonna talk about, but I'm gonna go through some comments. Unless if you guys make some badass comments on here, we'll talk about that shit. But I usually get some really good comments on here. I wanted to bring up. Stasa 23 says 14C28N is a great budget steel when ran at 60 plus. aka the Civivi Riffle. Yes, absolutely. I would love to see there. This one's the what the hell's the name of it? Damn it. The Brazen drop point in 14C28N. All their 14C28N that I've tried, sharpened, and tested, it's very good. Very, very good. I'm very impressed with it. I'm guessing that it's done it's 60, 61 HRC. I don't know that for sure. I haven't tested it, meaning HRC tested it, but I guess it's pretty close to it. I'm guessing 59, 60, maybe 61. I'd be really excited to see that. Now the question is, when is too much? Right? Like a lot of the steels, especially super steels, you can run them as high as they can get it. It's almost like they can't get it too high, but some steels are going to start getting chippy if it gets too high. Now, 14C, I haven't seen it get chippy yet, not from Civivi at least. I haven't, I don't know if it's extremely high or not. I can tell it's well done, but oh, they said 60 to 63. There you go. And I gotta say, I believe him. I believe it's got to be at least 60. I mean, I've I've sharpened and used. I couldn't tell you how much 14C28N. A lot though, a lot. It's one of my favorite steels. I'm excited when I see it. Um, and I've noticed some companies do it better than others. I can tell that just from sharpening. 14C is extremely tough, very fine grained structure. Absolutely. Absolutely. What's up, 1 Minute Knife Reviews? Carried a Smoky Mountain knife. Wait, Smoky Mountain Knife Works version of Reese Wheeland Fatty Slash and ZT 0568. Do you feel like Hinder's 20CV is soft? The two I've had and used seem soft. The one DLT exclusive and M390 I have seems to be noticeably better. Okay, so, yeah, I've sharpened a couple that seemed like it was soft, and then I've sharpened a couple that seemed good. So I can't say it's all ran soft, but kind of like you said, I noticed I did one and I tried to bring it up to a polish, and I can tell it just fell off. Like right after I get over 1,000 grit, it just like fell off. And then I sharpened up another one. It did really good. Same angle, same everything. But I've noticed that with some of Hinder steels, like sometimes it feels like it's done really good. Sometimes, it's not that it's bad. It's just that it's ran a little softer. And like we were talking about, M390 and 20CV has that level of which it needs to be over to be as good as it's supposed to be. It's not like a 14C28N that does good between 56 and 59 or 55 and 58 or whatever. It has to be done between like I think 62 and 64. And it's easy to mess up. What's the proportional increase between like 59 and 60 and 60 61? Well, it depends on the steel, but certain steels, that's going to mean everything. Like the difference between, say, M390, the difference between 60 and 62 or 63 is the difference between S30V edge retention and what M390 should be. So it just depends on the steel. Some of them, it's not going to matter. It really depends on the steel, and not just the HRC too. You can have a high HRC and it still do like shit. The heat treat has to be done right. Damn it. Crucible Powder Metallurgy. Crucible is the company. Just ordered a cold steel Spartan and AUS 10. Nice, nice. I like AUS 10. I think AUS, well, I've only had it from two different companies, from Kubi and from them, from Cold Steel, and I like it. I like it. It reminds me a lot of VG10 154 cm. That's what it reminds me of. I can't remember. Oh, you know what though? I will say this. Excuse me. 154 cm, in my opinion, from what I've gotten, doesn't do good with the polish, especially CPM 154. But OS 10 from Kubi did great. Great. Like it got real sticky, real nice. Damn, I'm late. It's 2 a.m. Wait, 2 p.m. in the UK. Well, I'm glad you're hanging out with us. I know, man, from when you're on the other side of the world, it completely different time zones. The riffle has been in my pocket the last 3 days since it arrived. I'm really digging it, and it's slicey. Yeah, for sure. The riffle is a great knife. I do wish they would have put their choil better, but I have no problem making a choil myself. But it's the one thing that I have to talk about when I'm talking about it, that yeah, their choil's not that great on that knife, which is kind of weird because Civivi does great choils, but it's a damn good knife though, man. A really good knife. The action's really good. It's yeah, real snappy. The ergos are fantastic in that grind. This is how a flat grind should be done. So many companies are just they're making flat grinds like axes. It's like thin that shit out, man. That's a pocket knife. It's not a damn pry bar. Now they're brazen, the choil's the same way. It's not the best sharpening choil, which is surprising to me. I don't know why. Now, they gave you a sharpening choil on this one, but they didn't give you much meat. You're only going to get 3 sharpenings out of it. But damn it, is it's man, that steel, that 14C is done really good. The geometry is really good. The ergos are really nice. Beautiful blade shape for EDC, and that thumb stud action, real good. Civivi's got their D10 so well tuned, so well tuned. I noticed the same thing with 10A, just sharpened my Tonto Voyager and it came out great. It's the total process of the heat treat, soak time, temperature cycles, tempering, quench time. Some stills have crazy amounts of temps to get it right. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and it's got to be in that range. Like I heard, and I'm not a metallurgist, so I don't know 100%, but I heard like D2 has to be within 50 degrees of whatever temperature it needs to be at. Meaning, like if you go over or under that temperature by 50 degrees, over or under, like right in that range, whatever it is, like say if it's 1500, right? It's got to be right there at 1500. If it's 1560, it's going to go bad. If it's under, then it's going to go bad. And not saying that's the temperature. I'm just, giving a reference. Yo, yo, yo. What's up, Dime? Dropping dime on somebody. Dime wide, nickel high. I like that name. That's a badass name. Sending the link again because there are more people. It's a great. Oh, so Chris Wallaby just put up the link to the GoFundMe for Chris Gonzalez, an amazing dude in the community. He's supported a lot of us knife channels for a long, long time. He's got cancer. He's been fighting it for a while. Him and his wife, I'm guessing they're really struggling right now. They're trying to get up $7,000. Please, please, please go help him out. I know we did happily, and I'm hoping a lot more people go, even if it's $1. Please go help. He's a great dude, man. And like I said, he was helping us when we were just a little itty bitty channel. And he's done that for everybody. Like I guarantee knives or channels you've seen, he's probably sent them knives. Showstopper 78 says, need to know if the Southern Grind Bad Monkey and 14C28N is worth $260, especially because Zach Brown just sold the company. I don't know. I don't know about that. $260 for 14C28N seems a bit much. Now, if I said yes to that, right? It's because I love 14C28N, but I know the majority of people would say, no, it's not worth that. But why? Why not, right? Why not when it's done, usually done very well, and 14C is a great steel. Now you could argue the same thing with a custom knife, but that's a custom, so I know it's different. But a custom knife, it'll have 154 cm or CPM 154 and go for $600. So I guess it just kind of depends, but it's something you really got to think about because 14C2010 is usually not that expensive. Hey, mama, we got hi Lisa, hi Lisa. Chris is a great dude. I think he is from my neck of the woods. I'll definitely be donating. Awesome, Stasa. Yeah, yeah, I believe he is. I believe he is. I know we've sent them stuff back and forth. Like I said, he's sent us knives and he's always been awesome to us, man. Always. We've talked to him personally and he's always just been such a good dude. 40 likes, you know what that means. Let's pull it out. 73 people in here. We hit 7K. Can you guys believe it? 7,000 subscribers. That's amazing. We got the Rockstead pulling it out because I don't even know why or how we started doing this. For 40 likes, we pull out the Rocky. We need to start pulling out a new knife, like do like a first impression or something at 40 likes. Rocking on. My mom says, "Hey, everybody." Oh, where'd that, damn it. Come on, you fuck. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. All right. Where'd that go? I had a comment I was about to pull up, and now my thing's all messed up. Thank you, 1 minute. Thank you, everybody. It's saying congrats. I appreciate it because that's a big mile marker. That's a big mile marker. I'm definitely happy that we hit it. Um, so really quick on steels because I think a lot of people have trouble sharpening. They'll get a steel like anything above say S30V, S35V, and even like 154 cm and 14C28N, which you technically can do with aluminum oxide. I'm not saying you can't do those steels with aluminum oxide, but a lot of the steels that are in the mid to high range, especially super steels, you got to use diamonds. Don't use aluminum oxide. You can sharpen it. Damn straight you can. I've sharpened M390 on aluminum oxide. Trust me, I have, and it was wicked sharp. But it's not a good edge. It's not a good quality edge that's gonna last. You're gonna have it's gonna get sharp. It's gonna feel sharp. It'll be very sharp, but you start cutting with it, you're going to notice that it's going to start falling apart pretty quick. You're going to get a lot of edge fatigued steel, the aluminum oxide. And some people would argue this against me and say, well, sapphire is made from aluminum oxide, ceramic is made from aluminum oxide, but it's different. Um, it like just like with anything, the temperatures are different and the quality, even though it's the same material, it's just different. So diamonds are just a better way to go, safer way to go. It sharpens up faster. It gives it a better, crisper edge. And I've sharpened up so many steels on aluminum oxide, but when it gets to the super steels and stuff, none of my edges have ever compared to my diamond edges when I use diamond stones. So I even like doing other steels like 14C28N on my diamond stones and a lot of other steels. Now, there are some steels that are more simple, even more simple than those. And I'll do them on aluminum oxide because diamonds just they seem a little bit too aggressive for it. But I would say diamonds are my best friend, Eva Lee. I sharpened a VG10 knife on a hard Arkansas stone once. I got a great edge. It just took forever. So I've sharpened VG10 on Arkansas. If you start with a soft, or the way I like to do it, anytime I use my Arkansas stones, I always like to start with an aluminum oxide. If I start with an aluminum oxide and move to either a soft depending on the aluminum oxide or a hard Arkansas, I get a great edge. Vigiton's very easy to sharpen, and that's a steel you can do. Now, you can also do it on diamond. It's kind of like that steel that'll work in both areas. You can do it on aluminum oxide. You can do it on a hard Arkansas. I recommend you starting on aluminum oxide, then moving to a hard Arkansas. Like he just said, it took him forever. It won't take you forever if you start with a low grit. Always start with a low grit. I think you should always start with 400 grit or less. I don't even like starting with the 600 grit. Fuck that. It just takes too long. Give me 300 grit, and then I'll move to 600 grit, then 1,000 grit, and so on and so forth. I just don't. Why? It's going to take you twice as long to use a medium grit stone versus just going right to a coarse. Remove the steel you're going to need to remove because you're removing the same amount of steel. If I start with 1,000 grit stone, or a 300 grit stone, I'm still going to remove the same amount of steel. The only difference is the 1,000 grit's going to take way longer. The 300 grit is going to get it done quick, and then I can move to the 1,000 grit if I want 1,000 grit edge. Oh, thank you, Wallaby, again. Thank you. He keeps putting up the link for Chris Gonzalez. Please go support. I appreciate it if you guys did. It Yeah, I know he could definitely use the help. He would not have that damn GoFundMe if he didn't need it. He's been battling this shit for a little while. So trust me when I say I've talked to him so many times. He's a very humble dude. He would not be asking if he didn't need it. Got my Gillian bearings in today, and my XM18 has never felt better. Thanks for the heads up. Awesome, Brian. That's so badass that you said that. Yes. Definitely. If you guys want some amazing, badass bearings, go over to Gillian Knives, man. Those bearings are sweet. They're CNC cut, hand flattened. All sourced materials, I think, are from Tennessee. I believe it's from Tennessee. It's from the U.S. All the ceramic, the brass, but man, they're sweet, man. Very sweet. Um, Breeze says, ain't got all day to play around. Why not? Why not, Breeze? No, Mojo said 600 for touch up or even finishing. Right. That's about it. Unless you have time to kill and lots of it. Exactly. I like 600 grit for a finishing stone. So I don't want to start on that. But yeah, definitely not. Like I said, a good fit. I love 600 grit as just a finished edge. Don't get me wrong, I love a polished finish too. But 600 grit, man, there's just something about it, especially with certain steels when they're done right, man. Woo, you want to talk about fucking sharp. 600 grit edge is like one of the sharpest edges I probably ever felt. Now don't get me wrong, I've polished some up to 10,000 grit or 6,000 grit, 5,000 grit, and the heat treat is just done so good that it's just stupid sharp. But man, 600 grit has that nice bitey edge that it's no matter what, it's going to have bite, right? With a polished edge, it's hit or miss. With 600 grit, you're getting a damn sharp edge. My mom says, thank you, everybody. Good night. Good night, Mom. I love you. Thanks for stopping by. Baby, you're loud. Evilly says, have a good night. What's up, EDC Journey? What's up, bud? Babe, you're loud as fuck. I know your conversation's going to be on a live, though. I guarantee they can, baby. They just said, you said, what did I just say? Well, before that, I was talking, baby. I know you can't. That's why I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you before I listen to this live later and everybody's listening to you instead of me. Oh fuck. Um oh yeah. Yeah. Let's go through some of these Evil E says he can hear you loud and clear. Eggs and Ham says I can hear her pretty well because he has headphones on. Yes. Everybody can hear you. They don't need headphones to hear you. You're loud as shit. Yeah, I can't wait till I show you this later. And you're like, damn, you could hear me that good? What? All right, let's go into some. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just go through some videos. I'm just gonna go like that, and then I'm just gonna pick a video, click, and then look at some comments because I'll get comments, not even about the video. So let's check some out. So so somebody says they had the insight. Uh what was the insight made from? Or what knife was the insight? I don't remember. And hated how cheap it felt. So I sold it. And they asked me if the riffle was any better. Well, I can tell you the riffle's bad. Oh, a Civivi Insight. So I've never had a Civivi that felt cheap except for, and this is just my opinion, the ones in the FRN. I don't like them. I don't even like that. What was that? Was it the Badlands? I mean, I like the knife. Don't get me wrong. I like the knife. I just don't like the FRN. The FRN is just, ugh. I've got the Atoma Diamond 400 and 1200. Perfect combination because it's diamond too. So diamond cuts fast. Well, thank you for dropping in. Have you tried the sharpening techniques that Pete from saying? No, I have not. And what he's talking about is doing a low grit on one side and then a polished edge on the other side. I have not tried that yet, but I have, and I've talked about it before, that I've tried a couple unique sharpening like edges that I personally have just done that I would be curious to see cut test results in, because when I did it, I got really good results. Um, I didn't like the CVV backlash in ebony wood. I liked the blade, but hated the handle scale. It's too slick. Yeah, you can love a knife, right? You can love a knife, but something about it, like the handle material or the texture, just you hate and you can't get over it. I have a few knives, just something little drives me nuts, and I just can't get over it. It'll literally make me not carry it. Like the FRN scales. The only FRN I like is Spyderco's FRN, like on the Mannix. I like this one, the Chaparrals. I like that. It still feels very solid, and this FRN feels different. It's more, it's not just a flat FRN. I don't like the FRN on the Benchmade Griptilian, but I love the Benchmade Griptilian, so I got past it. Um, yeah, it's rough. Oh, he's talking to somebody. All right. Somebody says the Actium. Let me get it out. This is one of the best budget knives. 2021, in my opinion. The Sun Cut Actium. This thing is redunculous. Nice, super thin hollow grind. The thumb stud action is the best I've felt on a knife in recently. I think it's even better. Yeah, it's even better than this one just because it's placed a little bit farther away. What's up, Steve? What's up, bud? Seems like it's counterproductive to put two different edge grits on a knife. Different direction is legit. Yeah, it seems like it'd be counterproductive, but actually, Cedric Canada's tests showed that it got like double the edge retention that it would normally get, if not better. Like instead of getting like 300 cuts, it was getting like 900 cuts. Like crazy, crazy edge retention from it. I'm guessing because what happens is you have the teeth and then you have the polished edge, and then as the teeth wear off, the polished edge wears off, the teeth get exposed. The teeth knock off, the polished edge knocks off, the teeth get exposed. I'm guessing it's because of that. Jared's gonna start only showing us knives from Gerber, Smith and Wesson, and Bear Grylls Special Edition. If you can't hit that thumbs up, we're just gonna have a Neeves Knives Bear Grill Edition. How many? What do we have? Let's see how many likes we got. 76 watching, 59 likes. But yeah, this Actium though, very, very good knife. I didn't like the way it looked looking at it, but I got it because I wanted to get it on the channel. But then getting it, I was like, holy cow, this thing's good. Another one that's really good is that pintail. The pintail is so thin. It's so thin. It's almost like it's as thin as you can get before the steel punctures through. That's the way it feels. Like I feel like I could touch my finger when I squeeze it right there. But damn it, does it get sharp. Holy shit, it gets sharp. I got this one at a 600 grit edge. Man, the thing is wicked sharp. Oh, that was my fault. Listen to that. Listen how quiet that is. Ooh. That thing is stupid sharp. It's so thin. I have paper all over me like an idiot. Another one that's good is the Keen. Freaking natter. Yeah, the Keen. That's one I haven't tried yet. I tried to ask for it. They didn't have any available when they asked me what knives I'd like to check out. I named that one, but they didn't have any. But I was happy to get the drop point brazen because it wasn't out yet. And I want to check out some knives that nobody else can get. But it'll be available very soon enough. And I also got, if you guys don't know, I got another button lock Elementum that's going to wind up going to one of you guys, if you guys are lucky. Not in this video, though. I'm going to wait till after they drop them, sell out, and then I'm going to give one away. I also got another knife from Civivi to give away. I feel budget is different for everyone. Absolutely. I was actually talking about this earlier to somebody, that somebody's $500 means the same amount to somebody else is $50. So say my $50 might be the exact same as your 500. So when I buy, say, a $50 knife, it means to me as much as your $500 knife. Or, it's kind of like if I watch a review, and somebody's talking about that knife, I'm so happy about that knife, whatever it is. And you want to hear somebody else be very impressed with it, even if it is a 20, 30, 40, $50 knife, just like somebody else that bought a $500, $600, $700 knife. It's the same thing. It's just your budget, and that amount means the same thing to that person. Just mail the Elementum back with the Jin. Where's Breeze? Breeze, some people think you're nuts. Either way, 50 or 500. Absolutely. There's people that, you tell them how much is that knife? $50. They're like, what? The fuck are you buying a knife for $50? But you know what? That's the same person that'll be sitting there fiddling with a bag, trying to get it open, or trying to peel. They'll be taking their keys to open a box up, getting tape all over their key. Now they go open up a door. They got tape inside the fucking doorknob. That's that guy. Or they got some cheap piece of crap Gerber that's going to fold on them one day, break, or chop their fingers off. But, just like anything, you get what you pay for, right? You get what you pay for. Here's the two colors I got. Not sure which one I'm going to give to y'all. I think I might keep the brown because I already got the other brown Elementum, and I got another knife in this one. But damn it, this thing looks so good with the black blade and the micarta. This one looks damn good too. Damn good too with the stonewash. This one's got the Neevesknives polished edge though. Ooh, lightly used. Lightly used. Relative with a caveat of what someone is comfortable spending, regardless of their wealth or lack thereof. Yeah. Or spend one, yeah, right. Or spend $150 a week on coffee, right? Yep. Somebody might get freak out over buying a knife for that much, but you look deep enough, you'll find that little thing that they have that they spend $200 a week on, whether it's energy drinks, coffee, McDonald's, who knows, they got something. Yeah, it's subjective for sure. My favorite, least expensive is the QSP Pelican, old school D2 denim micarta. Yeah, that denim micarta is sweet, man. They did a great job on that. And I'm glad that for that company that they came out and did it for the price they did. I mean, that's sweet that we are able to get the materials because I'll tell you what, that same material 5 years ago would have been expensive. Expensive. But man, we're very lucky. The one in my card I'm not impressed with is this fox knife baby core. I am not impressed with this micarta. You know what it kind of reminds me of? Two Sons, which is kind of weird, right? I don't like Two Sons micarta either. Maybe they're gonna end up doing better soon, but yeah, John Evans, under $30. That's what I mean. Like how I mean, just the micarta alone is worth that, regardless of the blade and everything else attached. So that's an amazing. That's a perfect example of a great budget knife. If you're wanting materials, because sometimes that's what it's about, especially if you don't have that much money. You're looking for the best bang for your buck. You're wanting the best materials money can buy for what you have. Say you're like, I got $50. What's the best I can get? And when you're looking around like that, we're lucky in today's market because in today's market, you can get, you know, a good quality knife with good quality materials for under $50, which we thought we could before, right? Like 10 years ago, you thought you could, but looking at 2021, looking a lot better. But that's why I kind of hold some of these companies to a higher standard now because we are in 2021. There's certain things we should not be okay with anymore. Some people would argue and say, man, it's just a fucking pocket knife. What's the big deal? As long as it does this, this, and this, I'm good. I disagree. Like, I don't care if it's a $50 knife. I want that thing to sharpen good. I want it to hold a good edge. I want it to don't I want it to not look like it's been through war because I sharpen it one time. I don't want it to look like it's about to be on its last leg because I used it. You know what I mean? I want a lock that's going to hold up. I don't want detent lash, and I don't think that's too much to ask for. I just ventured in the $200 range. Most of my collection is less than $75. Yeah, I know how that feels. To be honest, I know we have an amazing collection thanks to a lot of amazing people in the community, but you'd be surprised at what we've spent on a knife, like meaning how little we've spent on a knife. We've been very blessed by the community to have some of the knives we have, like Spartan Harseys. Thank you, Mr. Amazing. And a lot of other knives. Nice knives. I mean, thank you. Like I could sit here and thank so many people, but the most we've ever spent on a knife was $280. That's the most we've ever spent on a knife. I want to make my own. Why talk about knives to buy instead of making your own? It's not that easy. So, if you're wanting to make a folding knife, it's not as easy as making a fixed blade. And I'm not saying making a fixed blade is easy. You got to understand a lot of things, a lot of processes. I would love to make, I had the opportunity to go and make a fixed blade and I fucking blew it. So, I don't want to talk about it. And it was with one of the Forged in Fire uh, competitors. He lived around the area. We had the same name, blah, blah, blah. But I blew that. So I didn't get to go do that. But designing a folding knife, it's not as easy as, just, or doing a fixed blade. You got to have your measurements perfect. There's a lot of fine details that go into it. Like if you're off by a smidgen, you're going to get lock rock. You're going to get lock play. Your thing's not going to lock up. It'll fail. Like there's so many things to it. But yes, one day I would like to. I do have some designs I've made. I would love to turn in some of my designs. I would love for somebody to put it on a CAD, and draw something up like, with the exact measurements perfectly, and then maybe send it to get made in a 3D print, kind of like what Blade Banter did with his knife. Do something like that, and then possibly send it to one of the knife companies and see what they say, or do a GoFundMe to or what's it called? Not a GoFundMe. You guys know what I'm talking about, so that people can support and help me get it into business, because I do got some badass designs. I think I've drawn up about 5 so far. That new lock I designed, though, pretty tits. It's badass, pretty badass. Will it work? I don't know, but possibly. I splurged on buying Cozy worth every fucking penny. Ryan Gilbert says, badass. I agree. I didn't buy my Sabenza, but I agree. These knives are worth every penny. They are amazing, amazing quality. The fit, the finish, the precision, the build. Such a good knife. And like I keep saying about other knives, it makes sense. And this thing will live a long time. You can tell by the grind. Like you don't even see the plunge grind on these. The plunge grind is under the scale. I love that. You can get so many sharpenings out of this without it ever looking like it was ever even sharpened. I laid the edge back on this one, and it looks like it's the first. Well, it is the first edge that was ever put on it, but it doesn't look like I've removed a ton of steel or anything. Well, I didn't, but I laid the edge back. Another good one with a good grind is the damn Gail Bradley too. This thing's got an amazing hollow grind. I love the drop point on this. I love both of these drop points. The Sabenza and the Gail Bradley, both of them got really good drop points. Jared, you ever thought about designing a knife? Yes, I have. I've got some drawings. I was just talking about that. Yeah, I got some drawings drawn up. I've designed, like, messing around on paper, not an actual design, but I've drawn up some shit. Michael Morgan says $300 on one. Everything else is under 120. You know, um, Talking about that, you can sharpen a Chris Reeve 100 times and still the same behind the. Yes, that's what I mean. It's made to last. It's made to use. One, you're not hitting the choil, right? Badass. Two, the grind is a deep hollow, so it stays the same thickness going up, which makes it where the life is longer. That's one thing I always talk about with flat grinds. If you're gonna do a flat grind, it has to be done right. Otherwise, I shouldn't sharpen my knife 5 times and the thing goes from 20 thousands to 35 thousands. It shouldn't do that. But buying a knife, you guys can get on payment plans. If you ever want to buy, say, a $200 knife and you're normally in the 70 to $100 range, you can go on like Blade HQ and make 4 payments where you do 50, 50, 50, and 50, and then get your knife. You're not going to get it till after you're done paying for it, but it makes it easier. Now, I'm not saying take your damn credit card, take a loan out of a bank. I'm saying go on their website and they'll let you make payments to it. It's not a bad idea if you don't have the money all at once, or if you do have the money, but you just can't just take that much money out of your bank because you have food and bills to pay, but you can handle $50 a month or $50 a week or something like that. It's always an option. I've gotten a Spartan Hersey folder today in the mail. Good for you. It has blemishes on the side of the Damascus blade. Is it already starting to rust? I know nothing about Damascus. Should I send it back? What's the Damascus made out of? Do you know? Seems logical. And he's talking about this knife here. Mine's not Damascus, though. Mine's S35VM. I'm imagining that the Damascus has got to be made from some type of. I would think it'd be a stainless. I don't know what their Damascus is made out of, but it might not be. Okay, so maybe it's two different steels, and one of them isn't stainless. But what I would do if I was you, I wouldn't turn it in. If you like the knife and you're happy with it, aside from that, take 3-in-1 oil, coat that blade with it, right? Let it sit for 5 minutes. Then take a good rag, a good knife rag, and scrub it up a little bit. Give it a good scrubbing, some nice swirls until it's basically dry. Then wipe it completely dry. It'll be good. It'll get rid of the rust. Like I said, let it sit for 5 minutes with the oil on it first. It'll get rid of that rust and it'll stop rusting for the future. Do that once every couple of months. You ain't gonna have to worry about rust. I've been trying to decide between the Serge and the Gerber center drive. Exchange jigsaw blade and scissors sold me. I don't know what either one of those are, but this is just me, would warn you against a Gerber. But the USA made ones might be good. I haven't tried any. I can't carry most autos in California. Difficult to even order them. Have to use a proxy. Yeah, that sucks, but I know what you mean. But to me, aren't manual knives just funner? I love a manual knife. I'd rather do this than just push a button. That's just me, though. I know people like the cool factor, but center drive is sick. Maybe it is. I don't know. I haven't tried it, so it might be. Um, oh, is it a multi-tool? Is that what we're talking about? A multi-tool? Yeah, Gerber might make some good multi-tools. Thumbs down must be a shoe lover. He ain't into knives, he's into Nikes. I think you're supposed to torch it first. Yeah, frog lube would be fine. I've used it. I think I've used it. I'm pretty sure I've used it. But for like rust prevention, I don't mind the 3-in-1. The 3-in-1, it's for cleaning, preventing, and whatever. I don't know what the third one is. It's something lubrication, but it works great. It's so cheap. It's like $3 to $5. You get a big bottle of it. It lasts a long time and it works really good. I don't have a problem with it. I don't use it on my pivots, but to maintain steel, it works great. I'm backed up on comments. Because of you, I had the courage to open and maintain my knives. Much thanks. Awesome, Doc. That's badass. You'll notice that the difference between a cheap Kershaw or a cheap CRKT and say Civivi is 100 times easier. The hardest knives I've ever taken apart were cheap Kershaws. They're red Loctited shut. Their parts don't fit perfect. So when you're trying to put it back together, things aren't lining up perfect. There's 100 little parts. But when you get a good quality knife, it's easy. Like it's very easy. Just hold your bits nice and straight. Make sure your bits fit. Most quality knives aren't done with red Loctite, so Civivi's very easy to take apart. Kubi's very easy to take apart. Tucson's some of the easiest knives to take apart. So yeah. And the more you do, the better you get at it. The only shoes I love are all leather boots. Only do one pair too. I love me some leather boots. That's something that I always gotta have. I always gotta have me a good, nice pair of leather Red Wings or some type of quality work boot and real good quality leather double stitching. Gotta have that double stitching. I always look for that double or triple stitching. Dual action autos are always under tension, open and close. Something to think about. But I've seen some of them last a long time though. Like they're still lasting. Whoops, 2, not 22. It's 9:50 in Malaysia. But good night to you. Good night to you. Thank you for hanging out. Lose their tension through cycles, not compression. Yeah, I was thinking about that with even frame locks, right? Of course, when you get a knife, you should break it in. You get a knife, you flick it, you want to break it in. It gets it nice and smooth, gets the pivot very smooth. But at what point is it too much? At what point are you making the lock bar lose tension? At what point are you making the lock bar scoot over farther, right? I've seen some knives where you play with them too much and the lockup goes to 100%, and a good quality knife should be made to be flipped as much as you want to flip it and it never go to 100%. Where you're going to start scooting that lock bar over is from squeezing it and cutting with it because you're cutting with it. So you're pushing the knife back towards the stop pin and the lock bar is slowly scooting over. Oh, Doc, thank you, man. I appreciate that, bud. No problem, man. Thank you. Man, that's awesome. Thank you so much. But yeah, so with the lock bar, since we're talking about some knife lessons, with the lock bar, when you're squeezing it, you're actually putting pressure, at least with the frame lock, towards 100%. And then when you're cutting with it at the same time, you're putting pressure going back towards the stop pin. So the lock bar is slowly scooting over. So with a knife, like a frame lock, I don't think flipping is what's going to make it go 100%. Now, a liner lock, it's thinner, right? It has a thinner this is probably not a good one to look at, but it's got the thin lock bar. So flipping and flipping and flipping and flipping and flipping and flipping. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen some go to 100%, but I think it's the same thing. It's going to be from pressure using it. That's what's going to make that lock bar start moving over. Now, I'm not saying fidgeting isn't going to do that too, but I guess it depends on the knife. I got a deadlock. I don't think the springs are going to wear out anytime soon. Yeah, those deadlocks. Yeah. Well, some locks are really good like that. Like even a button lock is supposed to. The spring is constantly putting tension over. Or like say an access lock, right? The tension's always pushed up. Now, where I start worrying is with an access lock is when it can't go up any higher, right? When that lock bar loses place to go up. Now, is it going to start getting lock rock eventually? It doesn't really matter. It's still behind, like the stop or the lock bar is still behind the blade, so it's not like it's going to fail, but it might start getting lock rock if it doesn't have no place to go. Now, when I look at my Benchmade versus this one, my Benchmade, look at how much room it still has. It still has a lot of room to go. You can see it there. But this one looks like it's almost at 100%, but that's the way it came. I don't know. I guess just time will see with that one. Access locks will almost never wear out. The springs will, though. See, what I'm talking about is that bar going up. If it doesn't have no place to go, right? Because that steel's still getting wore out. You know, it's a lot slower, everything, and you're right. It'll probably never wear out. But eventually, over a long period of time, you know, let's say it's gone up as far up as it can go, and now the hole right here where you're pushing the things down, it has no other, it can't go up any higher. It's as high as it can go. What do you do then? Get a new knife. It'll still lock up, but it's just, it'll have probably a little bit of rock. Mine cozy locks up at 50%. My Sabenza is like 67. Oh no, it's like 75, 80%. But that's the way they're supposed to be. Most of the Sabens I've seen have been like 80%, 70, 80%. See how close it is? Wow, that got that really good. Huh. But I, but then it also begs the question now, should I keep flipping it and flipping it and flipping it? Or should I leave it alone now? Should I stop doing this and only use it and not fidget with it because it could move all the way over? Well, I don't know. I mean, it's got a really good warranty. So if it does go to 100%, they should just give me a new knife. I don't know. But I'm not really that worried about it. I don't think I most of all the ones I've seen some at 100%, and they were still rock solid. But yeah, it does. It gets to me in the back of my brain because I'm talking about it right now. It does. At some level, get a new knife is the correct answer. Using anything turns it into a consumable. Just a matter of how fast. Absolutely. And eventually, but something like a Sabenza, send it in. They'll probably put a new frame side on it or something. I don't know. Or send it somewhere and get a lock bar insert put in. Rat one tends to have yes, absolutely. Have really late lockup. Both of mine got retired way earlier than I expected. Rats are pretty outdated in my eyes anyway. I think they're outdated, but they are a tough knife, man. You know what? I actually got one right here. They are a very tough knife. Their lockup, yes, nice and late. Very late. Turn this one. Mine's pretty late as well. It's about 65, 70%. But look at how much hardware this thing has. One, two, three, four, five screws, right? Five screws besides the pivot. All those damn standoffs, not including the stop pin. I mean, these things are built tough, full liners. And I've seen people like Blade Brigade beat the shit out of one of these things, and it just keeps ticking. Even the what was it? The Kershaw knockout wound up losing to one of these. So did a Tenacious. So they're pretty tough. Tough knives. Now, are they outdated? Yeah, kinda. Just because there's so many options out there. I wouldn't say they're a bad knife, though. I think they're still a damn good knife. If you need a good work knife, they're nice and slicey. They got a good grind. I do think they'd be better with better steel, but they do take a hell of an edge. Ganzo Rat. I think they're good. I mean, it's a Ganzo Rat. I think they were tested one time in the Ganzo one, if I believe. At least with like the steel, the edge. The Ganzo rat is a better rat. There you go. It's gonna be probably stronger, but man, I'll tell you what, these things are not weak. These things are very strong, but an access lock is always going to be stronger than a liner lock. I mean, that's just, science. That's just math. Rat's still ahead of some modern options with the pen over the blade grind. Stupid. I've never even heard about those, but still, I'm just not a fan of the design anymore. Yeah, the action's really good. They do have good ergos. It's a great work knife. If somebody's looking just for a damn work knife, I don't like if they're just like, I don't care about getting into knives. I just want a damn good work knife. A Rat 1 is a great knife, or a Rat 2. But there's also a lot of other knives you could tell them about, you know, like a Savivi. Steels are good and all, but their heat treat is everything. You can buy a $20, yeah, but I would never trust a $20 M390. Never, ever. Hell, just the steel alone is worth more than $20. Like if you buy M390 in a blank steel, I would imagine that it's more money than $20 if you buy, a solid blank of it. I don't know. I've never bought it in that like that, but yeah, Pakistan, exactly. Yeah. You can get just about anything from there, but it's not going to be heat treated. And if it is, it's on the shittiest quality ever. I'm not saying there's not any good Pakistan knives. I actually have one good Pakistan knife. I actually still have it, and it's a Bowie, a real like exactly what you think of when you think of a Bowie. That's what it looked like. Damn good knife though. I chopped wood with it for a long time. Chopped firewood. I just used it as a hatchet to chop wood, and surprisingly, other knives that were like similar that were Pakistan knives broke, chipped, fell apart, but this one just kept going. And yeah. Good night, everyone. Thanks for the live, Jared. Thanks for coming, bud. What time is it? 9:02. Today's so we'll go till about 9:30. How many people we got here? We got 80 people in here. 7,000 subscribers. You guys are amazing. We'll stay till 9:30. I once saw a New York rat the size of a house cat. I've seen the biggest rats I ever seen. Breeze, I know he remembers this. The old farm. Well, it's not. I mean, our family still got it, but anyways, it used to be a farm and have horses and cows, goats, blah 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 blah. But when the horses were still there, it was a full blown barn, like, hay up in the loft. And this fucking place had the biggest rats I've ever seen in my life. I've seen big rats in Chicago, they didn't compare. I'm talking about squirrels were scared of these motherfuckers. I'm talking about big ass rats. I used to hunt them. So we had this dog Max, and I had my gun, and I'd go and shoot him, and Max would run in and chew him up, and I'd be shooting him, he'd be chasing him, we'd be fucking some rats up. I'm surprised it made it because, like, I've tried a couple other Pakistan knives. I tried this one. Check it out. I bought it from a gas station. This was a long time ago, and it was one of those wicked ass looking knives, like where a blade went this way, a blade went this way, and it was made for like chopping and hacking. And I had my knife board outside that someone got me for my birthday for throwing knives, and I threw it at it one time. It fucking hit it. Bam! The one piece stuck and the back of it snapped off. So it literally just snapped like that. You know, fuck, man. That's not a good heat treat. The steel is not that much, not as much money as you would imagine, considering the cost of premium knives. Only a few dollars, in fact, for a flat bar of any of the knife steels that are considered top. There you go. Yeah, I wouldn't imagine it'd be a lot, but but just for the blank, I would think, just personally, like say if it's $10, $5, doesn't matter. It's not cut yet. It's not heat treated yet. You haven't made scales yet. It hasn't been drilled. It hasn't been screwed. You haven't figured out no dimensions. Like all of that is what costs. Then the steel on top of it, how good of the heat treat is. Then the money you put in for the belts, because grinding this shit, you go through belts. And if you use shit belts, you're gonna mess the steel up. If you use you're gonna want to use good quality belts. And that's why it costs more for companies that are making good quality 20 CV or whatever steel, because they're having to go through new good quality belts so they don't burn the steel. So there's a lot to it. Mark says I had to run to the store real quick. What the hell did I miss? You missed a lot. A lot. We can't even go through it all so much. The shadow. Yeah, the shadow. I got lucky enough to get one. Very blessed to get one. And yeah, I'm not even gonna rub it in how awesome it is. Don't worry, I'm not gonna rub it in how fucking awesome this thing is. I won't even say it. I won't even tell you guys how badass this thing is, because I'd hate to rub it in. Okay, I'd hate to rub it in. Evil Lee asks Breeze, "Who is Barn?" We're talking barn talk. But yeah, I used to do a lot of hunting around there. All small slamming things, all small things, squirrels, rabbits, rats, birds, cats, skunks. I remember one time Breeze's dad, there was a skunk, and this fucking thing would come out all the time because there was all kinds of raccoons and skunks. It's a farm. Anyways, so at night these cats and these skunks and these raccoons, they'd fight, and I'm talking about the most toughest cats you've ever seen in your life. I'm talking about these things are like wild cats. They're like bobcats, but except for regular cats. And this skunk, there was this one specific skunk that just kept spraying. He was probably getting fucked up by cats and fighting and spraying. So, anyway, so he went out there with a shotgun, a one shot, I think it was a 20 gauge. But it's just a one shot, like the kind where, the barrel breaks, then you slip in the shell, boop, and then when you break again, boop, the shell shoots out, just a one shot 20 gauge. And he's out there, and I'm watching him. All right, because I'm looking out the one of the glass doors from the back of my uncle's house, and I'm looking at him, and I see him walking. The skunk's in front of him, like trying to get away. He lifts his tail, boo! He shoots him in the ass. He keeps going, right? He's still alive, and I see him walking. He's boop, popping the shell up, putting another one in. Boo! I think he shot it like 3 times. And then the next day, he pays me $20 to go fish him out because he died underneath the porch. So I had to go crawl underneath this vicious cat infested fucking porch, crawl under there with a bag and snake his ass out. More like a ricasso. Barn swallows. Oh, barn swallows. That's a bird. The barn swallows, yeah, they lived on the ceiling of the barn is just filled with barn swallows. So all day you'd see them flying in and out, but they were good for the bugs. So they eat all the bugs inside the barn, so it's healthy for the barn to have them. Obviously not to be overpopulated or overran by them, but a certain amount of barn swallows is actually good for the environment around a farm. Boom, shoots him in the ass. I came in an interesting part of the stream. Yeah, you did. Um, what is that? Tenerife near Spain used to have feral cats with curly tails like pigtails. Mean as fuck. But the island killed them all. They were nasty. Seen them on holidays about 10 years ago, maybe longer now. Yeah, the cats we had around, like I'd say 80, not 90% of them were wild from the good cats, I guess you could say, having babies. So there was like a few that were really good. They'd come up to you, pet them, but then the other 30 cats were all vicious and wild and fighting each other and fighting everything around them and just crazy as all hell. I watched them beat up dogs before. I mean, these things were fucking nuts. They were the type of cats like you could be outside eating a sandwich, and next thing you know, there goes your sandwich because a cat comes and snags it. But yeah, crazy ass cats everywhere. Like sometimes you'd be walking and these things would be running underneath your feet. And then there were times I had to go put some down because I remember one time one got mange and my aunt was afraid that it was going to get her other cat's mange, and she had like a couple special cats that she really liked that had been there for years, so she didn't want them getting infected. So she just asked me to go, take care of it for her, and I knew what that meant, and she just didn't want me to tell her about it. So, old Jay Reed went and took care of it. What's grosser than gross? Running over a skunk? What's grosser than that? Scraping it off your tires. What's really gross is when your dog goes and fucks up a skunk and then jumps in your van and you don't realize it till it's too late. Next thing you know, you need a full shampoo job on the inside of your van. I had that happen a couple times. It's so bad that you can't even smell it at first because it's like burning rubber when it's fresh and it's like it's right there surrounding you. You don't even smell it like skunk at first. It's almost burning. So it's literally smells like burning tires. Then all of a sudden you realize what it is and you're like, oh fuck, man. Oh, it ruined the inside of a van one time. I shampooed it like 6 times, man. Fuck. But let me tell you the recipe for getting skunk off of a dog from a dog trainer. You get peroxide, dish soap, and baking soda, and you mix that concoction all together. Baking soda, peroxide, and Dawn dish soap. Mix it all together, and that's how you give your dog a bath. Give your dog a bath with that about 2 to 3 times in total, not all in one sitting. You gotta let them dry off and do it again. But the first time will take care of about 90% of it. The second time will usually take care of the rest of it. Sometimes, depending on your dog's fur length and how bad it was, it might take a third time, but usually 1 or 2 times takes care of it. I ran over a sun bloated skunk with my car. Damn thing detonated underneath. Took months for the car to smell the normal again. Wow. Boo. Yeah, my last dog went blind temporarily because she got a hold of a skunk. Oh man, and shook it. The shot can blind them. Apparently, she got lucky. It was only temporary for her. Yes, yeah, that stuff. It's nasty, man. It's vicious. That shit will fuck you up. It actually can even burn your skin if you have a cut and stuff like that. Yeah, it's pretty nasty. We had a dog run into our house as kids after getting sprayed, and my brother got sent home from school because his backpack smelled so bad. Boy, get your ass home smelling like this coming to school. What the hell's wrong with you? Take your backpack with you. Man. Oh, I've been sprayed like lightly sprayed before. Because I've always had them around me, like with training dogs and stuff like that, and the farm. And I've been sprayed lightly, never full blown, just gushing on me. One time I got lucky though. I was hunting a skunk, and it lifted its tail, and it sprayed right when I got it, right when I killed it, and I got lucky. The way I don't know to tell you guys. It's probably not YouTube friendly if I tell you what to do with skunks. Yeah, it's skunks. Mostly Folder says I don't have any skunk horror stories. I've had skunks walk by me 2 feet away a couple times, no problem. Yeah, they're usually not bad. Skunks are usually they're a lot like raccoons. They usually don't care. It's when they get scared, like if you go to fuck with them, or if you have a dog and the dog goes after them with you. But if you're just standing there and a skunk's there, they'll normally like a lot of times they actually give you a warning squirt, so which usually isn't bad. It's usually just like a little spritz, I guess you could say. I don't know. But no, it's not that bad, or they usually don't even do it as long as you ain't touching them. It usually takes them to get attacked or touched or hit by something or touched by something for them to spray. But I mean, you chase them enough and fuck with them, they're gonna spray you. But yeah, they aren't as bad as people think. But when they get hit by cars and die, it just happens, you know. A friend told me they like skunk smell. Not me, a friend. Really, not me. I swear, I'm not weird. Smells sometimes it smells like a reefer. That's what I think. Sometimes it smells like some good, well, not about good, but it smells like some weed. My ex brought home four baby skunks one day. She thought they were cute. In some states they allow you to have them. Um, you want to get their scent glands taken out though. So if you get the scent glands taken out, that's whatever. But then, in my opinion, you should never get rid of them. You should have that skunk for life because now you took it away. Its defense, kind of like declawing a cat. I don't mind people that declaw a cat, but you better not fucking get rid of that cat now. That cat should be with you for life. You better take care of its vet bills. You better, because you took away its defensive mechanisms. Out in the wild, it can't run up a tree. I mean, they can run up a tree still if they have their hind legs. But they're not good. They can do it, but they're not great. And then they can't claw things. They don't have their defensive mechanism. They can still hunt, but not as good as they could if they had the claws. So, I had a raccoon. My raccoon was awesome till it was a teenager. Then I had to get rid of it. It wound up ending up at a raccoon farm. Um, but yeah, he was awesome. He was like a little puppy for a long time, but then he got over possessive. He got they always get aggressive, but he got very territorial where he didn't want nobody near me. He didn't want other animals near me. And they get into everything because they have hands, so they can open cabinets, jars, anything. So Jared, Dr. Doolittle of the knife community. I love animals. I've been around animals my whole life. I've trained animals since I was younger. I actually went to dog training school, um, animal training school, technically, but specifically for dogs. I had a reptile fetish for a long time, had hundreds of reptiles. Yeah, I've had a lot of animals. Wasn't until I was in my 20s I figured out why my dad loved the smell of a skunk. Probably wasn't skunk he was smelling. If you were going to declaw a cat, you had better keep them inside. That's what I mean. Like, and it's not that it depends on where you live. They can go outside. It's just, like you don't want that cat. It depends on the cat because I've seen cats that'll go outside, but they won't go far. And then I've seen cats that they like to run the damn neighborhood. Now, if you live in a neighborhood that's nice, there's not dogs running around, then yeah, whatever. It's not that big of a deal. Now, if you live in a neighborhood where pit bulls are running the streets or coyotes and shit, yeah, that's not good because now he can't get up a tree as fast as he could have before. He can't fight them off. Like, Ian, thanks, bud. What's your favorite dog breed, Jared? Bull Mastiff, Connie Corsos. I also really love what the hell is it called? I mean, I like a lot of the Mastiff breeds. I love all dogs. First of all, I love healers. I love all dogs. Period. I love pit bulls. I love boxers. I love, like I said, healers. I love hunting dogs. I love them all, but I really have a fascination for, which is weird because I like training dogs, so that's why I like healers and border collies and dogs like that because they're so smart. Like the smartest dog I ever trained was a healer and a Jack Russell. I mean, I couldn't tell you the things these dogs could do, but even a medium intelligence uh bull mastiff can be so intelligent, so smart. But I love bull mastiffs, Connie Corsos, and then the Boerboels, South African Boerboels. Those are fucking amazing. Look one up. I wish I could pull it up right now. A South African boar boil. Those things are amazing. Connie Corsos. It looks like it's spelled Cane Corso, but it's pronounced Connie Corso. Those are amazing dogs. But yeah, just the a regular uh bull mastiff is. I love the English mastiff too, but they have a real drooling problem. The Neapolitan mastiff has a really bad drooling problem too. So the bull mastiff takes that away. It's not as bad. And yeah, I love me. What about the dingoes? Dingoes are cool. Dingoes are cool. Uh, I've what did I didn't train a dingo. This guy had one. I went to this place one time when I was like doing the training, the school training thing, and this one guy had a pit bull pinscher mix, which I think that's what basically like, unless if you're talking about the wild ones. The dango ate the baby, the Australian dingoes. But there's another one that it's a term for that type of dog, not an Australian dingo, but it's like a pit bull Doberman pinscher mix. I can't think of what it's called, but he had one of those and he had one arm. And he brought me to a facility where they train for police dogs, and it was awesome. You know, they basically train guard dogs, and Shane says he had a French Mastiff. Nice, nice. Dogu Bordeaux, I think that's how it's pronounced. The French Mastiffs. Yep, there you go, right there. I just see, I know my shit. I know my shit. Um, What about a poodle? Poodles are awesome. Poodles were bred as an all-terrain dog. So the reason why people don't realize, they think the fur, when you see like those balls where they like shave the balls on their elbows and neck, and they shave them all up, they think that's for prettiness. That was originally made for them to dive into ice water. That those dogs are an all-terrain badass dog, but they don't look like it. So we've just, got this thing with them where we think they're for like rich women or something, or princesses and whatever. It's not the case. Those are badass dogs. Those dogs are made to be an all terrain hunting dog and to be able to dive into ice water and fish out. They're very courageous. I think they're second on the intelligence list for the smartest dogs. If you go all the way up to the border collie, which is number one, the poodle is number two. Now, there's different size poodles. Obviously, the big poodle is going to be, more of a hunting dog than a small poodle. Um, High strong work dogs. Yes, there's different things. Like there's working breeds. There's guard, like guard dog breeds. There's all there, like an alarm dog, like little dogs, the ones that bark really loud. Either they were made as an alarm or they were made for rat baiting, for hunting rats. I wonder what a pit bull Doberman mix would be like. They call it something. I can't think of what it's called. A dogo. That's what it's called. I think it's called a dogo. Dogo. It looks really cool. The one I saw looked like a fucking gargoyle. That's why it's still in my mind. It was a badass looking dog. I just realized I was actually like 5 minutes behind in the live stream. Oh shit. Always a shepherd growing up. Black lab now. I love them both. I've had shepherds and black labs. Both are good dogs. The last two dogs I trained were black labs. Shepherds are really good too. Um, Very high strong dogs. They if you train them right, you need a lot of area and good training. They're awesome dogs. Oh, a Malinois is usually what a cop dog is. A lot of people think they're a German Shepherd. Usually it's a Belgian Malinois, but German Shepherds are also police dogs, but they look very similar. What's a bulldog Shih Tzu mix called? A bullshit. Uh, the Dogo Argentino. Yeah, that's an all white. That was, I think, originally a fighting dog. the Dogo Argentino. There's stories of this one that saved this little kid's life from a mountain lion. The mountain lion ran up and grabbed it by its diaper and started taking off with it. The Dogo Argentina caught it and killed it. Think about that. That's a badass dog to kill a mountain lion. Fucked his ass up. But and the lady, the mother that owned the dog, never liked that dog until then. The husband's the one that got him, like to kind of be like a guard dog around the house, and the mother didn't like it until then. But yeah, they're badass dogs. They're usually all white, like a cream color. They look like a pit bull. Well, yeah, similar to a pit bull. I had a little poodle named Cujo. I love that movie. If you guys haven't seen that movie, Cujo, definitely watch that movie. It's a Saint Bernard that got rabies. Um, Major loyal dude, unless you bumped into him while sleeping, he would draw fing blood, then feel really bad about. Um, that's probably why his name was Cujo. Border collies, Aussies, Kelpies, and Coolies. Have you ever seen the Pitbull Dachshund mix? It's horrifying. I don't think so. I don't think so. But I've seen some crazy ass breeds. One time I had a Pekingese Chihuahua mix, which it made it look like like a wiener dog Chihuahua, and it had a broken tail. Always, it was born with it, but it looked crazy as hell. It looked like a wiener dog, but in a Chihuahua body. My mom's dog's an Australian cattle dog border collie mix. They're incredibly smart. Absolutely. That's what I was saying. The smartest dog I ever trained was it's same thing as an Australian cattle dog, the healers. So there's blue healers, red healers, and those dogs were this is what people gotta understand about them. And that's why when people get them, they don't realize what these dogs are gonna be because those dogs were bred for hundreds of years to work 14 to 16-hour days herding hundreds, if not thousands of cattle for 50 to 100 miles a day. Like they worked all day. Like talking about, we're not talking about a little farm. We're talking about miles and miles. And that's what these dogs did all day. And they do it because they love it. It's not a dog that you have to sit there and give a treat. Sit. It's not that type of dog. It's a fucking full blown working dog. That dog will work for 12 hours a day and not even think twice about it. So, like the healer I was training, it was like a light switch. Like there wasn't nothing I couldn't tell that dog to do and wouldn't do it right then. And it would go all day. It even dug trenches for me. I taught it to get me tools. So when I was down in trenches digging, doing construction, I could say, hey, Spook, get me a shovel. And that fucking dog would go get me a shovel. It'd get me a hammer. I was tearing down a tree one time and I'm trying to drag this tree across the yard and it's so big, this dog can't pull it, but the dog was bleeding from the gums trying to pull the tree with me. Digging trenches. I was digging trenches and the dog would help me dig. I literally had the dog digging for like 4 hours because he wanted to. It was just the way the dog was. And that's the type of dog those dogs are. But now you put them in a house or an apartment where you don't do that stuff. You're going to have the worst dog you've ever seen in your life. You're going to have a dog that destroys your house. You're going to have a dog that kills cats and squirrels and fuck shit up because it's not made for that lifestyle. You got to work that type of breed. A lot of working breeds are like that. People claim they have a bad dog. No, you're a bad owner. You should be out there working your dog. It's kind of like this. A lot of people, when they say, oh, I was thinking about getting this type of dog. Well, then I say, well, what was that dog bred for? Right. And they're like, oh, well, for tunneling. Right. It's like, when do you ever go tunneling? Like, when do you ever chase badgers down into tunnels? Oh, not often? Then why the fuck are you getting that dog? That dog's going to be digging your whole backyard up, chasing, rats or mice or whatever, squirrels. Like my sister, she got a West Highland White Terrier. Those dogs were bred for tunneling. That's why I thought of tunneling. They're bred, they have a tail that's made for you to pull them out of tunnels with. Their bark is so powerful. It's a little dog, but it looks like a lap dog. It looks like a little cuddly furry dog that you put on your lap. It's the exact opposite of that. Just because it looks like that doesn't mean that's what it's for. So this dog's bark was made to hear deep underground. So it has a loud, aggressive bark. And it's so you can find him and dig him out. And like I said, his tail's to pull him out. And it's not that they're very aggressive, but they're aggressive towards little furry things. So because they chase rats down into holes, and literally there's competitions with these type of dogs where people they build like makeshift tunnels for these dogs to chase rats in and stuff. And so what I asked, like, when are you going and doing that stuff? Like, why would you? That's not a lap dog. That's not the type of dog you think it's gonna be. But it's the biggest mistake people make getting a dog. What's funny is they absolutely love kittens. It's so funny. My mom fosters kittens, and both the blue heeler and the red heeler follow them around everywhere. Yeah, they can be like depending on how you raise them, right? Like some of them, like some of the ones that I've trained, because I've trained a couple, but one specifically, but it didn't care about anything, like nothing else. Like it only cared about work, whatever you were doing. But then I seen another one. It was like that, where it would literally like rescue a kitten crossing the street. Like it would go and like protect it. Like it felt the obligation to guard, even though like see what they were made for is their bite isn't deadly. So that's why they're a good cattle dog because they can bite the cattle without killing them or hurting them. If you put a German Shepherd out there, they got the chances of drawing blood, right? And hurting the cattle. A healer doesn't. A healer's gonna, if you notice, they sound very aggressive. They have a loud bark. They sound vicious as hell. Like if you fuck with them, they sound like a badger. Like they're crazy sounding because they're made to do that to scare cattle, right? To have a loud bark. It's kind of like that old saying, all bark, no bite. It's kind of like that. They bite, but it's not going to kill you. So, but yeah, they can be very protective too. Yeah, it's sad to see the wrong breed in houses. Huskies, yes, are not for the average Joe. The Huskies thing drives me nuts. Me too, because in school we were taught, not trained, we were taught there's two breeds that you cannot train 100% off leash. And when I say 100%, that doesn't mean that you're not going to have one that's not good off leash. I'm saying for you to 100% be able to trust this dog off the leash, one being a husky, the other one being a beagle. A beagle was bred to hunt and was bred for us to follow them, not the other way around. A lot of hunting dogs, it's a vice versa thing, but a beagle, its ears are made to scrape the ground and the scent goes up into their nose and they follow their nose. That's what they were bred to do for a long time. They used to come in three sizes. Now there's only two sizes, but it's bred to follow its nose and for you to follow them. So now when we get them now in a house and the dog's following its nose and you're calling it, trying to get it to come back to you, well, no, it's doing what it was bred in its bloodline to do, follow its nose. I'm not saying you can't recall them because I urge people to when they get them to train that dog or recall at a very early age and keep up with it in a positive way. But the next dog is the husky. It's made for mushing. It's made for it's very wild instinctively, and that we call that in like when in like the school when you learn to train dogs, they're actually called the escape artist dog. They are literally escape artists. If you lock them in the backyard all day long, all they do is look to escape. And I mean, they will find they're tricky, man. They will figure it out. It's not if they get out, it's when they get out. It's pretty crazy too. I've seen some wicked shit from huskies. And that's why every time somebody says, "Oh man, I love the way a husky looks. I want a husky." I beg them not to because 99.99% of people do not need or shouldn't have a husky. They're beautiful dogs, beautiful, beautiful dogs, but they're not made for a home. They're made for living out in the outback. They're made for living out in Alaska and in very rural places where they can run. I have two Bostons now. Used to have two Australian Shepherds. Miss them. Great dogs. Yeah, Australian Shepherds, man. I love those dogs. Bostons are cool too. Boston Terriers. That's called the was it the gentleman dog? Those dogs are so sweet. Yeah, it is. Oh yeah, I read that one. The wife fell in love with the one he stole her, salami sandwich once right out of her hand. Just walked up and grabbed it. What time is it? Oh, 9:35. All right, guys, we are going to hit the hay. Oh, reminds me there's some awesome content creators I need to support more. Um, Mine is a Pitsky. Jerry, very much congratulations on 7K. Thank you, Breeze. Thank you, cuz I appreciate that. And let me read this. My middle daughter has a husky pit bull mix, and I tried to talk her out of it because she can't take care of herself, much less that breed. That's how it works. You hope when that happens, you hope that it gets the pit bull's instincts more than the husky, because when you get a mixed breed, that's the one thing you don't know. It's a toss up of a coin. It's kind of like people, right? Like, you don't know. Like, we know certain things, right? Like, you're most likely going to get the hair genetically from your mom's father. That's just the way genetics goes. Most likely. Is that 100%? No, it's like 95% or something like that. But there's certain genetics that we know most likely you're going to get, but then some you don't know, like your personality, your instincts. You could get a mixture of the two. Your mom and your dad. Most likely you're gonna. But sometimes you get, mostly one and then the looks from another, right? So hopefully the dog gets the temperament of the pit bull and, not the husky, because pit bulls are awesome. Pit bulls are like some of the best dogs I've ever seen in my life. Like, I hate that people are scared and fearful of pit bulls because they are the most loyal, amazing dogs. I've trained more pit bulls than any dog. And yeah, some of the best dogs I've ever been around, trained. Some of the most, literally the most um not just loyal, but like well tempered, where they could just handle, like, say, a kid pinching at them and falling on them. That's why they're called the nanny dog in Europe, is because they're just so good with children. So I think that's awesome. Like, a lot of dogs, when I bred them or when I trained them to be with me, I always made sure to put him through the challenges of being around a child, because I have a lot of nieces and nephews and little cousins and children and babies around me, with my family. So my dog had to be able to withstand a child falling on them, pinching them, picking at them, playing with them. And I'd always train them from a puppy to, until they were older, to deal with that type of stuff. And they were always awesome, especially the pit bulls. All the best, Jared. Thank you, Ian. Great live content. Always keep up the great work. Right around the corner. Damn right. We're shooting for 14 next year. 14. Here we come. Thank you, guys. I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. Peace. My dream dog is a lab pit mix. I actually trained one. Awesome, awesome dog. Great, great mixture too. I love you guys. Peace out.